Good evening, people. All right, everyone, this is a filthy, filthy Winston. Disgusting, dirty, salty. He walks outside, he tracks in the mud. What do you have to say? All right. Oh, down we go. People, this is going to be a first. And I mean, nobody wants to see kid dolls in the background. Oh, Viva Rant shirt. Good idea. Okay, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this like a few times before we actually make it happen. This is a first. We are going to cut this stream on YouTube and take it over to Rumble exclusively because I want to have an open discussion. I want to ask Dr. Christian things that I couldn't even feel comfortable asking him when we met on the streets in Ottawa during this this convoy. And can we all take a moment to appreciate what we're witnessing from this convoy? It's a surreal experience. There's a certain level of anxiety that you get overwhelmed with because things are cascading in a certain direction and getting more and more attention, more and more intense. You know, the momentum is building, the international interest is building, and you know, something's got to give, as the expression goes. And you just hope that what gives is both good and productive and not destructive, or this just fizzles out and back to the status quo of an unacceptable status quo that we've seen for the last 2 years. I guess, you know, a lot of new faces who've met me and have seen this channel now from the Ottawa on the street, Viva on the street, just walking the streets and talking to the people and giving you the view that the media is just not giving anybody. This has been an eye-opening experience, I think, for even the most complacent of the blue-pilled members of society. They're seeing in real time just the egregious levels of dishonesty coming from the media and the politicians and everyone. And it's like, it's a convergence. What's the dog eating back there? It's a convergence of a number of things. Political abuse, government overreach, media misrepresentation and media dishonesty, and big tech censorship. And it's like, it's a crossroads, literally a four-way intersection that's going to determine, not trying to be lofty or melodramatic, but it's going to determine the future of the globe as we know it. You know, if this causes political turmoil and political turmoil in the best sense, political upheaval, a political revolution of sorts, in, you know, in, if only in turning the Liberal Party inside out, ousting the leaders and replacing them with leaders who are going to actually listen to the people instead of demonize them. If that actually happens in the United States, if that happens in Canada, where, you know, sitting on your perch and just tweeting what is nothing shy of hate-filled misinformation and lies about the very people who a year ago you were lauding as heroes. If it ends up that this revolution boots those people out of office, and that there's turmoil within the parties, as we've already seen with the Conservatives, O'Toole is out, they're going to be vying for political leadership. If and I think it will happen, you know, the Liberal Party turns on Trudeau because it becomes politically expedient to do so. The NDP turns on Jagmeet Singh if it becomes politically expedient to do so. The rest of the world is watching. And, you know, arguably the Biden administration, this was something I discussed with Jenna Ellis on her show earlier today. Arguably the Biden administration is watching this as well. And this was her thought, not mine. And, you know, if the Biden administration sees what happens up north when leaders demonize their people, try to criminalize constitutional peaceful assembly protest, if they see what happens in Canada, it's a small country, you know, politically, population, but not geographically, but it's a small country, but it would be symbolic of what's going to be coming by way of cascade across the Western world. So it's going to be amazing. Now, with that said, the fake news media coming out of Canada is just atrocious. Now, the CBC, Canada Broadcasting Corporation, or whatever it is, CBC, their new angle, by the way, it went from ignore the convoy to distract to another hundreds of cars, truck convoy in British Columbia, to demonize the convoy in the worst possible way. And they've been doing that hard. And they've been basically accusing the convoy of, they wanted it to be a January 6th type insurrection. I'll just call it a riot. They wanted it to be that. They wanted to paint it like that. Some outlets in Canada were even suggesting there was Russian money behind this. They wanted it to be that, and it never turned into that. So much so that, these protesters were shoveling the snow off the streets, salting the steps of the War Memorial, cleaning up, putting their garbage away. Crime has actually, by all accounts, gone down in Ottawa because everybody's looking at that Freedom Convoy, thinking that's what Ottawa downtown used to look like. I can tell you, the downtown core, Briards Market, whatever it's called, the market right next to the Fairmount Hotel, it was not a place where you would want to walk after hours at night. It just wasn't. I liked Ottawa, and I like Ottawa, but I never felt comfortable walking around that particular area at night. By all accounts, crime has gone down. The homeless population are more well-fed now than they were before the convoy. And the government wanted it to be what it wasn't. And when it turned out to not be what it was, you know what the CBC is saying now? That this convoy is posing a risk to children. And they actually had reporters going around suggesting that parents who were there with their kids in that convoy were placing their children at risk and arguing that potentially, what is it called? CPS or DPG in Quebec should come in and potentially, protect those kids from the imminent harm, if any existed, that might come from the fact that the government is trying to starve them out and freeze them out by not allowing gas to come in and not allowing food to come in and criminalizing any form of support of the protesters. So it's the next level in the nonsense. But I see Robert is there and Dr. Christian is there as well. So what we're going to do, I'm going to bring them in. I'll bring them in now so we can all say hi. Then I'm cutting this stream on YouTube and we're going to go to Rumble exclusively. And I don't know what's going to happen because I don't know if I can see the comments from Rumble on StreamYard. But if for whatever the reason some catastrophic cutting off occurs, I'll get it back up in no time at all. Okay, that's going to be clipped and used out of context. All right. Let me bring in Dr. Christian. Dr. Christian, how goes the battle, sir?
Well, thank you very much for having me on your show, David. It's a pleasure to be here. It was great to meet you in Ottawa, and it was great to have that interview on the street. And it was a privilege to speak to your many millions of viewers.
Well, tonight's going to be even better because we're going to get into the stuff that we could not get into for fear of just wiping it clean from the internet. Everyone in the chat, let me know if the audio levels are good. I'm going to bring in Robert. Robert, how are you doing?
Good.
Okay, your audio might be a little low. Let me bring that up.
What about now? I was just leaning forward.
Okay, now I'm going to do the dangerous thing, people. I'm cutting this live on YouTube. Everyone go over to Rumble. The link is in the description on YouTube. Fingers crossed. You are live on YouTube. Edit. I'm going to remove it from YouTube. A post was created on YouTube for this. Delete it. I don't want to delete on YouTube. I'm just going to remove.